Hey everybody, in today's video we're going to talk about a bunch of things. I'm actually going to answer viewer questions that were left in the comments of my previous long form video, and we're going to answer questions such as how did I get started in the business? When is a good time to start stacking precious metals? What is the process and the etiquette when it goes to sell precious metals? We're also going to talk about premiums. What else do I got on my list? Oh, and we're going to talk about purchases that I've made over the years, and if there's any that have just blown my mind. We got a lot of cool things to talk about here in the video today, and this is the first time that we're looking face to face for the whole video. I'm not sure this is something I'm going to continue to do, but occasionally I will. My face is no secret anymore since I've been on another channel and my face has been featured, so this is new for me too. So hopefully you'll enjoy the video while I answer your viewer questions. Please stick around. Hey everybody, I'm back, and I'm going to be looking down at my notes to read the question that you're going to see pop up on the screen here. So when you see me looking down, that's why. First question is from Ralph Angelo 3249, and a similar question from Erwin Wheeler 124. The question is, how can you get started in the business, and what do I need to find a wholesaler to buy items from? Well, that's a great question, and actually I dedicated an entire video to that several months ago that took me quite a while to produce. I'm going to put a picture of the video up here and I'll link it in the comments, so I won't give my 20-minute answer that I explained in the video that you're going to see linked in the comments, but I'll give a brief overview. Coin collecting and precious metal stacking is still a hobby of mine. It started at a very young age. Some of my earliest memories were coin collecting and sorting through wheat pennies with my dad when I was really little. I mean, 3-4 years old. So it's always been of interest to me. And honestly, I did take quite a bit of a break at some point. You know, my teenage years through my early adulthood, I didn't really have an interest, and life was pretty busy. It wasn't until a little later in my adult life when I started picking up stacking again, and you'll hear the full story if you watch the video that I linked. But I really got into it in my adult life, and that hobby turned into the desire to open a business, more so to serve our community, because as you'll see if you do watch this other video, we didn't have very good options within our own community to purchase precious metals. So I wanted to be that person that was there that allowed other people to stack, to buy, to sell collectible coins, currency. And it started as a part-time thing and blossomed into this, what you see behind you, Minot Coin Bullion. So as far as setting up with a wholesaler, well, that takes a lot of time. For our own business, once we incorporated it as a business, it took over a year to actually get set up with a wholesaler, because we had to jump through some hoops. We didn't start our business traditionally like a lot of coin businesses maybe do, where we just opened a store. We were in business for over 7 years before we actually opened a storefront. No, about 6 years, I take that back. So really we just existed by doing private appointments, setting up at coin shows, and that was a little bit more difficult burden of proof to prove to the wholesalers that we were a legitimate business that, you know, deserved to have items wholesaled to us so we could retail them to our customers. So without getting into too many specifics again, because I did answer it long-windedly in the video that I'm going to pop up one more time here. But it does take some time to get set up with wholesalers. You do have to prove that you're a coin dealer, and burden of proof is going to be different for different wholesalers. Some, your word is good enough. Others, it might be where there's a large application that you have to fill out, and you have to have references. And you know, once you get truly involved in the business, it becomes a necessity that you have a wholesaler. So, but it's not real easy. Not just anybody can call up a wholesaler and say, hey, send me a box of Silver Eagles. It doesn't work like that. So there is a process that is explained a little bit better in this long video. Next question. This is from West Stefan 5253. How many ounces of gold and silver are in your personal stack? This one got quite a few likes in the comments. I'm going to be honest with you all. I don't know. I really don't know. I add to my stack, you know, sometimes multiple times a week. And I'm not one of those people that keep immaculate records of my personal stack. I will answer it in a question that I believe to be fairly accurate, but it's not going to be in terms of ounces. It's going to be ratios between silver and gold. I probably have 2,000 ounces of silver to every ounce of gold that I own. I don't own a lot of gold. but we'll leave it at that. But like I said, I'm continually adding to my stack, so I don't have an exact number in mind. And plus, that's a pretty personal question. But I do have way more silver than gold because I'm a big believer in silver. So that's a great question. And maybe that'll motivate me to actually audit my own stack and figure out how many ounces I have, because frankly, I should know, but I don't. So next question is from Trying to Live the Dream 5277. What is your protocol, general etiquette, if I want to sell you a monster box of Eagles, Maples, Royal Canadian Mint 10-ounce bars? Do I call first? Do I just show up? Well, either is fine, but honestly, if it's going to be a large amount, it is courteous to contact the shop, say, hey, I have 2,000 ounces I want to sell, just to see if they're even equipped that day in terms of cash flow to make that purchase. Coin shops don't have a never-ending supply of cash, at least mine doesn't. I can't speak for them all, but we do get in different modes where, for example, yesterday, now I'm filming this on a Tuesday, the 27th of August, 2024. Yesterday, the 26th of August, we purchased over $60,000 worth of stuff across the counter. None of it was really pre-planned, people just showed up. Now, luckily we had the cash where we could do that because we had enough cash, we weren't too inventory heavy. But sometimes that script flips where shops get into a situation where they have too much inventory, too much. Can you have too much? But you do need to have cash reserves too, just to pay, your light bill, your rent, your water bill. If you have employees, of course, insurance. I mean, there's a whole alarms, there's a whole lot of things. Plus you want to have cash to buy cool stuff that comes in the shop too. So fortunately, we were able to make that purchase, or make those purchases, I should say. There were multiple. But the courteous thing to do really is to reach out to the shop ahead of time to let them know, hey, this is what I have. What are you paying? When's a good time to stop in? So if there is a need for the coin business to move cash around, from a different account, or extend a line of credit, or get other dealers involved to make that large purchase, that's probably the best thing to do. And don't be surprised if it is a very large purchase that you're not going to get all your money on day one. As I said, not all coin shops have unlimited cash on hand. So if it is a large purchase, I've done this before as well, where I've paid in stages. Essentially, I'm consigning their items for them, and as they sell them, I can pay. So that happens when you get into the mid to high six-figure numbers when people bring in big estates. So don't be shocked if you can't get a check handed to you on day one. But there again, communication with your local dealer that you choose to liquidate through is key. So that's a very good question. So hopefully that helps people out if you are looking to sell. Now, if it's small amounts, if it's, for me, small amounts, a few $1,000s, it's not a big deal. But if you start to get into 5-6 figures, I think it's the courteous thing to do to reach out ahead of time and have expectations that you might not get fully paid on day one. Next question is from Richard Metcalf 2346. If you had to liquidate a portion of your own stack, would you sell collectibles like graded Morgans and Peace dollars, or bullion pieces first? It's a great question. Well, I think it's an individualized question. I don't know if you're specifically asking me, or if you're asking, the general public what they should do. For me, I would sell the bullion first. Bullion is typically easily replaceable, especially if it's generic bullion, if it's Buffalo rounds, 10-ounce bars, junk silver. I don't have an emotional attachment to that stuff because there's so much of that stuff out there. But if I have a beautifully toned, graded MS65 Carson City Morgan silver dollar and I need cash, I'd have a hard time selling that because I know chances of me replacing it with that exact coin or something similar quality would be very, very, very difficult. So hopefully that's helpful, but I would definitely liquidate the bullion first, and not any hard to find bullion or limited mintage bullion, because as I said, that's not easily replaceable. And you don't always get all of your money back out of that type of stuff. For example, I have Beavis and Butthead colorized 1-ounce silver coins in stock right now that I'm selling for $80 each. That's just a hair over my wholesale cost. But these colorized versions are limited to 420 coins. And I'll pop a picture up on the screen so you know what I'm talking about. But, if I had that and I liquidated it to a coin shop, what are the odds I'm going to see another one? There's only 420. So, I buy it for $80. You bring it into any coin shop in America, You know, most of them are just going to look at it as an ounce of silver. Me personally, I would pay a little bit more for it, but I wouldn't pay anywhere near that $80 that I'm charging today. You know, as I said, my wholesale cost was, I think, 73 bucks. So I'm a little under 10% markup on that. But there again, you buy that as a collectible to hold on to. And I think in time, those could be worth more. So I kind of rambled on that question there. Who asked that? Richard, but hopefully that answers it for you. Next question is from @HicksPanics. Is now a good time to start stacking precious metals, and where should a beginner spend their first $1,000? Well, that's a great question. I'm not going to tell you ever it's necessarily a bad time to get into precious metals or that it's the perfect time, because it's all just going to depend on your individualized goals, how markets are at the moment. But yeah, I think now is a great time to get into precious metal. Had it been better 2 years ago? Yeah, prices were lower. But I think in the long-term outlook, and that's how you should look at it, metals are going to continue to do well, especially in a state of uncertainty, I guess we'll say. Our economy, our political landscape, you know, really the volatility in the Middle East, well, there's just a lot going on. So that's going to continue to play in to the volatility of metals. And I think in those particular instances, metals tend to perform in a positive way. So, you know, even though prices are high right now, you know, gold sits at, as I film this, over $2,500 an ounce. Silver's right about $30 an ounce. I still think that's a good opportunity, especially in silver. And I harp on that all the time. Silver's at 60% of its all-time high. Gold is at an all-time high. So I'll leave it up to you to decide where you should put that first $1,000. But specifically, I would put it into silver. I would buy low premium silver if I was to put my first $1,000 into precious metal. So what's low premium silver? Well, right now it's generics. So generic 1 ounce silver rounds, 5 and 10 ounce bars. Also 90% silver. I would do a mix, honestly, of probably 1 ounce rounds and 90% silver, maybe half and half. Spend 500 on rounds. You could probably get about, what would that be, 16 or so. And then you could get maybe $15 face of 90% silver. I'm not sure how the math works out, but I would split it pretty evenly in terms of dollar amount between rounds and 90% silver if I had my first $1,000 today to put into precious metal, because premiums on both of those products are low. Had you asked me that 3 years ago, I wouldn't have told you 90% silver, because the premiums were astronomical. It was like $15 over spot per ounce, where today in my shop it sits at about $1.50 for any of the types. So that's where I would put my first $1,000. So I hope that helps. Next question. Now, I never know how to pronounce this. Either Lisa or Liza, Jane, 84. How does bid-ask differ on commemorative gold versus ASE? I think she maybe means AGE, American Gold Eagle. Is the actual gold weight value a better deal per gram or ounce in the commemoratives? That's a great question. It's going to depend on dealers there again and what they charge for commemoratives. I myself, when I buy commemorative gold, and if you're not sure what it is, I'll put a picture up here on the screen of some different examples, but essentially commemorative gold is made by the US Mint. The trouble with it, it's usually in odd weights. Like, for example, if you buy the 3-coin silver commemorative set featuring the Statue of Liberty, I believe it was 1986. I think that was the year. But there's a 0.77 ounce silver coin that's a silver dollar. There's a 0.24 ounce $5 gold coin, and there's a clad $half. So it's just under a 1/4 ounce. So now when people sell those things to me, I'm paying less aggressively versus if you had like a 1/4 ounce gold eagle. You know, I'd rather have a 1/4 ounce gold eagle because it's more recognizable and more people desire it. So are the premiums lower on commemoratives? In my shop, they are, because I'm going to buy them for less also. So I would sell a 1/4 ounce commemorative gold for maybe 5% over gold price. I'm sorry, it's not even a 1/4 ounce, it's 0.24 ounces. It's a hair under a 1/4 ounce. Versus a 1/4 ounce American Gold Eagle today would be more like 10% over spot. So it's about a 5% difference in buying commemorative gold. At the end of the day, if you're just stacking for weight, buy the lowest premium stuff. But just know that if you do go to sell it, at least in my shop, I can't speak for anybody else, you're probably going to get less for it because it's not recognizable to the masses. So just keep that in mind. But that was a great question. Next one is from David F. 3883. If trading in or selling some silver, what is better, using your eagles or rounds? And I maybe paraphrase that question of David's there. Well, that depends also. It's going to depend on current markets and the premium spreads between the two. And what I mean by that, it's real easy to, most of the time, to get a good idea of what you can get for your coins if you're going to sell them to a coin shop based on what a coin shop is retailing them for. For example, now the retail spread between silver eagles and silver rounds is about $3. So silver rounds in my shop you can buy for $1.50 over spot as I film this today, but silver eagles are going to be $4.50 over spot. So that's a $3 difference. Now on, you reverse the direction and you sell to me, it's going to be about the same difference of about $3. So I'm going to pay about $3 less for your silver rounds than I would for silver eagles. Now, mind you, these are for retail friendly, uncirculated. If they're secondary or impaired, as we call them, the prices are going to be different. But so it just really depends, if you need more cash or less cash. But expect to get quite a bit less for silver rounds, basically in any instance, versus a government issued American silver eagle, just because of the wholesale and retail spreads between the two. And right now they're about $3. So I hope that helps. Question number 8, and this will be our last question because we're pushing over 15 minutes already. This is from Brandon Dr. 4272, and I'm going to paraphrase this one too. Was there a major purchase or sale that just blew your mind? Brandon's known me since I first opened my coin shop. He was one of my earliest customers in my first shop that I had before I had this one that I'm sitting in right now. Yeah, I would say there's a couple, and I'll touch on first a sale that I made, and second a buy that I did. And I've talked to him about these before. We had a gold sale about 1.5 years ago where an individual purchased $750,000 of gold in one purchase. So, that kind of blew my mind. I'd never had a sale that big up to that point. And that's a lot of gold to have to handle and worry about. Fortunately, I didn't have that much in stock because that's a crazy amount, but it all had to be sourced through wholesalers, and it was drop shipped directly to the customer, which is how I always handle orders that size, because I don't like being responsible for that much of somebody else's order once it gets to me. And then I have the burden of shipping or delivering it, but it just worked out well where they actually didn't live in my city, and it could just get shipped directly to them. But that was a good sale. I mean, you don't make much on that. I know, wow, $750,000, you must have made so much money. No, it doesn't work that way. I mean, it was very minimal for the amount of dollars that changed hands, because you work on really small percentages in precious metals as a dealer, especially with gold. So margins are very tight. But that was a good sale that I'll always remember, and I'll always remember the individual, and they've since come back and bought some other things too. So now in terms of something that somebody walked in to sell to me, and I'll put a picture of this on the screen, in 1856 Flying Eagle cent. Now for those of you who don't know, that's the first year of the Flying Eagle cent. Actually 2 different cents were minted that year by our US Mint, both a large cent that I'll put here and then Flying Eagle cent I'll put here. The large cent was the most common for the time, and near the end of the year they switched production and changed design to the Flying Eagle cent. Now off the top of my head I should have researched this, but I didn't, but I think there was like 880 minted, or no, that can't be right. Maybe it was like 5,000. Anyway, I'll put the mintage up here on the screen on how many existed. But when that came into my shop, I had my doubts that that was authentic because so few exist. And it was in pretty good shape too. So it was actually part of an estate that I had come in that I was helping the family liquidate. And over like 6 months, we liquidated the entire estate on their behalf. But that was one that we had to send in. We sent it into NGC just to make sure that it was real. Because as I said, not many of these exist. And what's the chances it walks into my shop in Minot, North Dakota? Well, sure enough, it was real. We got it certified, and I was able to sell it on the customer's behalf for a very good price for them. They were very, very happy. So, but yeah, in 1856 Flying Eagle cent. I'll probably never see another one, but I did have one come through these doors. So, but very good questions. But hey, I appreciate you all tuning in. If you haven't considered, please consider subscribing to the channel. We're over 11,100 subscribers now, which is great. And we really want to continue to grow to make this channel more visible to the masses, because we're all about education first and answering questions and helping people make decisions about precious metals. So if you're not already subscribed, it doesn't cost you anything. Just click on that subscribe button. Be sure to click the notification bell so you'll get notified when we put out new videos, especially our flash sales. I still have people reach out all the time. Oh, I never got notified of your flash sale, or oh, I missed your sale this week. We do have a flash sale one time every week, and we've been doing it since January of 2024. Where we do a deep discount on a silver or gold product. Sometimes it's been numismatics. We did Morgan dollars before also. But if you want to get notified about those, be sure you subscribe and click that notification bell. So once we put a video out, you should get a push alert on your phone or your computer, your tablet, whatever you use, that a new video's out. So you can take advantage of those deals if you want to. It's all up to you. But hey, I appreciate you all tuning in. You're all great. This was a little different for me sitting in front of the camera the whole time. I'm not sure how I feel about it, but I'm still going to put the video out. But hopefully I helped answer those questions that you had, and hopefully not just for the person asking, but hopefully that gave some education to you viewers as well, because once again, that's the whole point of this channel, is to help to continue to educate, because I feel the more we all know and understand precious metals, the better off we'll all be as a community. But I appreciate you all tuning in. Thanks so much. Have a great day.